Hi, this is Dave Bazar, and I'm here with Ron Leach.
Hello.
Today, men, on the latest, we're going to revisit Inshell. So harvest is right upon us. I've heard reports of people starting to pick their shaking date. I've heard the 27th of July. I've heard the 25th of July. You heard anything different, Ron?
No, I've heard about the same time frame. It's coming. It'll be here soon.
It's coming quick. So we did one earlier last season, but we're going to try to revisit the importance of Inshell, what you folks can do to make better Inshell, and just a little bit of everything Inshell, okay? Ron, let me start by giving them some numbers, okay? Inshell, what's it mean to the industry? Well, the total exports up to date this year are 23% of it going out as Inshell. That's primarily made of what varieties, Ron?
Nonpareil, Independence.
Yep, and he doesn't really want to say, but occasionally Monterey. But definitely Nonpareil and Independence. Where are they going? You might want to know. China, India, and the Middle East are your basic, where the bulk of them are headed, right? So
I must be growing like leaps and bounds over there.
Exactly. So those are the growth markets for the industry, and they want Inshell. China takes about 50% of the product that they receive as Inshell. The Middle East, it's about 11%, and India is 99% Inshell. Okay, there's a little bit of difference in use for them. In China and the Middle East, most of this Inshell product is being roasted and salted and then sold to the consumer as Inshell. Think of peanuts. We've provided roasted Inshell here from time to time. It's a fantastic product, huh?
Very good.
The Indians are cracking this stuff out, right? We used to say hand cracking. They actually use machines now, but not quite as big and fast as what we do. They're doing that because they want a perfect almond. They don't want any chipped or scratched. So important markets, big share of it's going as that, okay? So let's get on to what you as a grower can do to make good Inshell. Ron, you want to take it from here?
Well, first of all, you mentioned that it's these expanding markets, other countries, so you'll be selling a lot of Inshell, and that means that we will be running a lot of Inshell through the plant. Now, one thing that is very important to make the maximum amount of Inshell is that it has to be dry. The field run needs to be dry, and it needs to be open. And what I mean by that is, got some props here. These are opened nicely. If you get it open like this and it's dry, we can make as much as 95% Inshell.
And I've heard you before, when you're talking about open, what do you call it?
Butterfly. I call it butterfly. And it's wide open like this, okay? And it's easy to get the shell out without cracking the shell. What we don't want is things like this, where they started open and they stopped due to perhaps early harvest or the water was taken off too soon. But this is what we want to make good Inshell. Now we know that there are problems with maybe a grower doesn't have enough water to finish out his crop, or he's worried about bug pressure. But in any case, that's what we need to supply you with the best possible Inshell and the maximum amount.
And re-emphasis, it's a hard deal, like Ron just said. I mean, you're listening to, hey, let's deficit irrigate for hull rot. Hey, I got some navel orangeworm pressure, let's put it on. Not stressing them for water, you know, that's easier said than done. You have sand streaks, all that. But in a perfect world, if you're trying to make Inshell, you're looking to try to get the almond itself to open up naturally, right? And that means less stress. That means letting the process happen so that hull opens and butterflies and it doesn't dry right back down on it immediately. That said, why don't we run through a little bit of, if you're given good field run product, what kind of percentage do you look for, Ron, to make as Inshell?
As far as the yield goes, well, like I said, we can make as much as 95% for the grower. And that means more money in their pocket. And especially when the demand on us is to maximize Inshell, make the maximum amount.
And we do get confused with some of those topics, okay? So when he says yield there's different ways of looking at that. He's looking at it on, if you brought me in 100 pounds of almonds, let's call it meats, how much of them can I keep in Inshell? He's telling you a perfect world, 90, 95%. I know he's disappointed if he goes below 70. So 70 of those pounds you deliver stay as Inshell. The rest gets cracked out, correct?
Yes.
And I think growers get a little confused. So it's simpler than you think. You deliver it just like you were going to make kernels. Ron makes some of it, ends up as Inshell, some of it ends up as meats. I think growers are a little curious on, how do I know how many meats I have in that Inshell? I'll assure you that when the USDA takes their samples of your incoming, they crack out all that Inshell. So they convert it back to kernels to give you your quality, size, all those criteria are done just as if it was a kernel. You'll see on your USDAs a huge foreign material because they show you all that shell and hull once they've cracked it out as well. It's a growth market. It typically is a premium. It's a great product to make, right?
Right.
Let me
Like
just,
I said, it puts money back into the growers' pockets.
I can check my notes, but I think I have hit everything. I know Ron doesn't like this cliche, but Inshell, it's grown, not made. This has been Dave.
And Ron.
And that's the latest.
And that's it in a nutshell.
No, that's the latest.